This is not supposed to happen here. Beijing, the political heart of China, a city of ring roads, rail lines, ministries, and monuments, is built to function, to endure, to command order. But when the rain began, control slipped. For days, storm systems stalled over the capital region, unloading relentless sheets of water onto a city of more than 20 million people. At first, it was inconvenience, slower traffic, pooling water, delayed commutes. Then it crossed the line. Drainage systems strained past capacity. Low-lying districts filled from the bottom up. Underpasses became traps. Water poured down stairwells into subway corridors, turning platforms into basins. Escalators froze mid-step as commuters rushed upward toward exits that were disappearing behind them. Beijing did not flood all at once. It failed in layers. Outer districts saw rivers swell beyond warning levels. Mountainous areas on the city's edge sent torrents downhill, carrying mud, rock, and debris straight into residential zones. Streets near riverbanks vanished, first swallowed under fast-moving brown water that pushed vehicles sideways like toys. Cars stalled by the hundreds, then by the thousands. Parking garages filled like sealed containers. Entire rows of vehicles disappeared beneath opaque water. On major roads, traffic froze as engines drowned and drivers abandoned their cars, climbing to higher ground as currents built around them. In some neighborhoods, water rose past waist level, cutting through apartment blocks and storefronts. Ground floors were overtaken in minutes. Doors buckled, windows shattered under pressure. Electricity flickered, then collapsed into darkness. And with the power gone, the city's illusion of control vanished with it. Bridges were closed as water hammered their foundations. In surrounding counties, some rural roadways gave way completely, sections collapsing where the soil beneath had been eaten out by saturation.
cái màu
Rescue team. What had been solid hours earlier became void. Emergency alerts echoed through districts. Residents were urged to evacuate vulnerable areas. In mountainous zones, landslide warnings followed the rain because once the ground is soaked beyond capacity, gravity does the rest. Rescue teams deployed across the capital region. Inflatable boats moved through residential streets. Fire crews carried children and elderly residents through chest-deep water. Temporary shelters opened in schools and civic buildings as families arrived carrying only essentials. But in a megacity, scale magnifies everything. Power outages affected wide areas. Water supplies were disrupted in parts of the city. Repair crews worked under unstable conditions, navigating flooded substations and debris-choked streets. Every fix required caution because saturated ground shifts and hidden electrical risks linger beneath the surface.
Floodwaters didn't...
In the agricultural outskirts of Beijing, farmland disappeared under standing water and thick silt. Crops flattened. Irrigation channels overwhelmed. Livestock evacuated through rising floodwater as barns filled from below. And still, rivers remained high. Even when rainfall slowed in some districts, runoff from surrounding regions continued to pour into the capital's waterways. The danger didn't end with the storm cloud's departure. It lingered in saturated soil, in swollen reservoirs, in slopes primed for collapse. When residents began returning to their homes, the aftermath was stark. Mud-coated hallways. Elevators sat stalled in silent shafts. Appliances lay tipped over in kitchens. Personal belongings were found lodged against stairwells, carried there by currents that had moved through homes without resistance. Beijing has faced floods before, but catastrophic flooding in a modern capital city carries a different weight. It reveals the thin margin between engineered control and natural force. Because when extreme rainfall overwhelms infrastructure, the breakdown is not symbolic. It is physical, immediate, measurable in submerged streets, collapsed roads, disrupted power grids, and displaced families. This was not just heavy rain. It was a system under pressure and the moment that pressure exceeded design. Recovery will take time. Damage assessments will take longer. But one truth remains clear. Even the most fortified cities are not immune when weather patterns intensify beyond expectation. Thanks for watching Weather Floods, where we break down the facts behind the world's most powerful flood events. If you found this report helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on notifications so you never miss a calm, clear update. Note: some footage may be used for illustration and may not show the exact event or exact location described. Stay informed. Stay safe.
Between 4th of August and